Hello.
Recording in progress.
Hello, and welcome to the Parks and Recreation Commission meeting for April 6th. I would like to call the meeting to order, and let's take roll call.
Commissioner Budge? Yes. Commissioner Begor?
Yes.
Vice Chair Sharon?
Yes.
And Chair Stanning?
Yes. Okay, let's move to the first item on our agenda, which is ceremonial matters and presentations.
All right, our first item is to receive an email phishing campaign presentation from the city's infrastructure division.
Right, thank you everyone. Thanks for having me. Let me get this slideshow going. All right. My name is Ikram. I'm from the city IT department. I am here to talk to you guys a little bit about cybersecurity. So the agenda today is the cyber threat landscape, ransomware, phishing, malware, the city's stance on cybersecurity, and then I'll take any questions at the end. So the threat landscape is vast. I'm sure, as you know, almost anything and everything these days can connect to the internet. And as helpful as that is, that can also be an issue. The bad actors are always finding ways to hack certain things. Of course, if it's only to their benefit. But nonetheless, you know, we got phones, we got smart devices, we have cameras and all types of things that are connected to the internet. And as not only as a city, but as a person, you want to be sure that you're doing your best to keep yourself safe from data security threats and try to keep your home networks, which we all have one, safe and secure as possible. Let's talk a little bit about ransomware, malware, and phishing. And then we'll talk about public networks here in a minute. So ransomware, malware, and phishing, all these three things should be familiar. I'm sure you've heard of them either in the news or emails that we've sent, or in maybe previous jobs or other places that you may have worked or gotten training on. Nonetheless, a lot of these things happen through email. It's the easiest way. People generally everyone checks emails, and if you're not careful, you may click on something that wasn't supposed to be clicked on, and now you've gotten hacked. And that's very important and devastating at the same time. So how is ransomware, malware, and phishing usually detonated? Usually it's going to be an email that looks very familiar to something that you've received before. Sometimes it may not be it may not even be your own email account that's been hacked. It could have been someone that you know, their email got hacked, and so the bad actors will send out an email to you, and as far as you know this person, so hey, why would this person be sending me anything that would be malicious? Well, sometimes that person doesn't know, or finds out after the fact. But in either case, malware and phishing are all done through emails, right? They're done by either clicking a link, where it will redirect you to enter some information. It could be an attachment, and as soon as you open up that attachment, the attack is built into that attachment, and then it starts to hack the computer system that it was opened up on. Ransomware is often done on a larger scale. It's going to be done on organizations, because when that happens, they're coming for the money, and we're talking about tens of millions of dollars. It's not often that a single person would get hacked, unless you're someone famous maybe. But aside from that, those are usually the more common things, malware and phishing, that you'll see, and that we'll send training out to you guys monthly to kind of keep you up to date as to your techniques and make sure that you're aware of the types of emails that can come through that look legitimate, yet they are fishy. And then lastly, public networks. The public networks, Starbucks, coffee shops, stores, hospitals, a lot of everyone has a public network of some kind, and generally they're unsecured. So you're able to connect to their network by a few clicks, you're in. No security passes, no phrases, nothing that's would nothing that is encrypted or that you have to know the information to be able to get onto the network. And these are our breeding ground for cyber threats. The bad actors, you may not see them, you may not even know they're there. There are tools out there that are available to these people that can go out and sniff for public networks, and then they can easily connect to it just like you would have. But they now have tools built in as well, so they can start looking through people's phones and get sensitive information. So I always say, if you can avoid it, try not to connect to a public network. But if you absolutely have to, try not to open up bank account apps or anything that's important that has sensitive data. Keep it very, very bare minimum. And again, you can't if you absolutely can avoid it, don't. This chart here shows you the trends in cybersecurity threats and specifically ransomware. It's only growing. It's only going to get better, and it makes it. And the reason it also grows is because there are unfortunate organizations out there who aren't as secure as they thought they were, and there's data that they may absolutely need that they weren't doing their own due diligence of kind of backing up, and so they've ended up having to pay the ransom. As long as people are paying ransoms, ransomware is here to stay. And of course, security in itself, for organizations to put in tools to protect themselves, it costs money, and not every organization can do that, or are able to do it to a widespread scope like some others can. But nonetheless, as you can see here, it's only rising exponentially, and it's only going to get worse. And that's an unfortunate part of the world, and being everything so connected to the internet that people don't realize or don't understand that it's happening in the backgrounds. This next slide kind of shows you what industries are hit the hardest. Health and public, right? Why? Because so much of our sensitive data is in their systems, right? From social security numbers to health records, and various other things, financial systems. And so they're usually the hardest hit. And then below that is financial services, and then tech companies, and then as it goes down. But I'm sure in the past 3 to 5 years, you've seen almost all these industries get hit in one way or the other. There've been reports on the news, and it's unfortunate, but it happened. And again, the IT departments of these companies, of these industries, need to stay on top of the latest trends and do their best to secure that information. Here's examples of several that have been hit in the recent year or two. LA Unified School District, that's in California, the city of Minneapolis, the beloved Niners, Glenn County, which is another office or an education institution in California. Cisco, we've all seen the Cisco buildings everywhere in Silicon Valley. City of Oakland got hit twice this year, 1 month behind each attack, and they're still being talked about in the news, and the city's still down. And Dish Network was hit. This one specifically got hit in one of their offices outside of the United States, and it was caught too late, and it infiltrated all their systems around the world. And of course, them being a U.S.-based company, they got hit the hardest. It can happen to anyone and everyone, and all you can do is be careful and have the knowledge to know how to identify things that can possibly prevent you from being attacked. The city's cybersecurity events. We have spent we've put in countless efforts. We've spent what we what we can in our budget to make sure that our city infrastructure is safe. We have firewalls. We have third-party companies monitoring all our infrastructure or all our network traffic in and out of infrastructure. We as the IT department are sent countless reports and we can look through to make sure that nothing seems fishy. But we can do these things all day long. But at the end of the day, if you notice in the image on the right-hand side, the human error. At the end of the day, we're all only human and errors happen. And we can't avoid that, but the least we can do, or the most we can do, is train our users, our commissioners, our volunteers on how to best protect themselves and the city. Like giving you ongoing knowledge, ongoing training, so that you are at least aware of things to look for when you are checking your city emails, and are able to find and look for these fishy type of emails so that you know not to click on it, not to engage. So as I said, we do training and notification. So all of you new or current should have received at least an initial training through Know Before. That is a legitimate email that if you've received in your inbox that comes from us. And that is usually a 15-minute training on the latest trends. And we urge, and it's actually mandatory for all new people to ensure that they take it. As well as on the monthly basis, we send phishing campaigns. So you're going to receive emails that may look really legitimate, but they're most likely a phishing campaign that we've put out to kind of test your knowledge and see if you're paying attention or not. And if you fail, great thing is if you fail that test, nothing malicious is happening. You just get retested or you get sent a remedial training so that you can brush up on that knowledge. And then lastly, caution banners. Any emails that are outside of the internal city of Cupertino.org emails, you'll see this yellow banner. And that should be a cue right away that, okay, first of all, this email is from the outside of the city. Let me take a look at this email closer and make sure that's nothing fishy. There are certain exceptions to that. If you have ever opened up a help desk ticket with us, we use a third party, and so when you receive a help desk ticket, it may have this yellow banner. Anything you get from helpdesk.cupertino.org or helpdesk@cupertino.org, that is going to be legitimate. So kind of keep that in mind. And we always ask, if when in doubt, please ask. You are welcome to send us an email at helpdesk, give us a call at 777-3381, or even reach out to your liaison at the city for clarification of whether something is fishy or not. We are here to help. The more we can help you, the more you can help us keeping our data in the city secure. This is a chart that we pulled off of the Know Before. You do see these trainings, the benchmark for the training. And as you can see, a lot of these emails, they've been reported, which is great. That means that you're paying attention and you're reporting it to us. There have been times, but there are certain ones that have either been clicked on or opened, and human error. You may have looked really legitimate and you thought it was something that was coming from someone legitimate from the city, and they opened it or they clicked on something, and all these things get recorded and reported to us so that we can do better and making sure that the trainings are getting better so that you can learn, and that you can be better trained on what to look for. Our mission, your mission, is to be careful. Treat each email carefully. Please read it. Ensure that it's something that you're expecting. Ensure that if it's from the outside that you were expecting it, with the communications of people that you may have in your tenure, and be a cyber hero. If you feel that it's fishy, if you feel that it doesn't feel right, at the very least, delete it from your inbox and from your deleted items from the city email. You can always also report it to us, and we will be more than happy to take a look at it and make sure that it's something that is legitimate or not. But it takes all of us to ensure that we are safe. And that's kind of the end of my presentation. Are there any questions that I can answer?
Thank you very much. So now we'll
Sure.
bring it to clarifying questions from the commissioners. Vice Chair Sharon.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that presentation. That was very helpful. Something we were actually discussing at the beginning of this meeting was that we're on a public network here in Community Hall, and what comfort do the residents who are using this public network, as well as us commissioners, have that we're not being subjected to phishing campaigns, troublesome things? And if so, what can we do as residents and commissioners?
So as far as the city's guest networks go, it does go through our firewall. And so there are certain things that we have in place where we are able to filter certain networks or certain connections, certain networks, certain threats. Sorry, okay, there we go. So we do our best to make sure that the traffic that is flowing through our guest network is safe enough, but of course there's only so much that we can do. It is, again, still an open network, and anyone can connect to it, right? It's just as easily as any other network at a Starbucks or a hospital. But you should be rest assured that at least a lot of the things we have safety blocks attached to all our networks throughout the city on the back end, that's at least filtering certain malicious things that at least if someone that's connected to our network were to start malicious activity, and it got back to us, we're able to put it to a stop on our end. But that's not to say that you, as anyone else who's connected to the network, is safe from those things, because we can't monitor what people do when they're connected. We can only monitor what's going on internally. Hopefully that kind of clarifies it a little bit.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any other questions from commissioners?
Yeah, so this is Commissioner Hemant. I just wanted to understand about, after seeing the recent phishing activity and ransomware at Oakland, right? City of Oakland is a big recent example. What lessons we have learned from that? Are we doing any penetration test, any other simulation of such potential hacks? How are we protecting? What kind of new technology we have implemented? I know it's not possible to 100% protect us, but still.
Right. So yes, thank you. We are always looking at our security posture. We want to be sure that we're doing our best to ensure the safety of our data. Lessons learned, well, we are actually going to be doing a pen test in the near future. So that's one thing that we'll be doing. We have various tools that we have put into our systems that are security experts that we're working with, security expert companies that we work with, that we give access to our network for them to do their own pen testing, to be able to monitor the data flowing in and out of our city, to ensure that there aren't any vulnerabilities, there aren't any holes that we've missed. So we definitely are working with various tools to ensure that we are doing our best to never be in that situation.
Okay, thank you. Any more questions from here? we can take public comment on this item. If you are interested in doing public comment on this item, please fill out a blue card if you are here, or raise your hand if you are on Zoom. And I believe the timing will be managed by
Video.
the video group.
There are no hands raised on Zoom, and we have no blue cards.
Okay, then I'll close public comment. If there's any discussion, I would just like to say I've found the training extremely valuable that the city has provided to me. And I mean, it's frightening to go through and see the various ways that these fishing experts can pull you in. And it's very helpful to have those yellow banners on emails that we get if something is from outside of the network. And I found it interesting that the training emails do not come from inside Cupertino. They come from KnowBe4, which is external to the city. And so every time I get one, hopefully everyone, when you get those training emails, is sending one back to you to say, is this real or is this not real? Should I be clicking on it or not? So that's just a habit that I have now every time I get one of those, even though I know it's KnowBe4, it's externally. But I'm trying to be careful. And I've learned a lot just for my own personal use of how to manage it. And I can tell you that none of us want our names attached to do something that similar to like what has happened in Oakland. So it's very good training, and it's so worthwhile to keep ourselves and our city safe.
Thank you. And if there's something I can leave with you guys, it's just, security goes beyond just the city. You want to make sure that you are doing a due diligence to yourself. You're only doing service to yourself. And if you have banking apps or anything that has sensitive information, if they are offering a multi-factor authentication, please use that. That's only going to stop the bad guys, at least deter them a bit longer than not. And so just be sure to do your due diligence, and if there's ways that you can secure yourself, go ahead and do so. Kind of that's an ongoing thing. Just like learning, is an ongoing thing. It's the same thing goes with security. You want to make sure that you're always on top of it, or to the best of your ability at least.
Okay, thank you very much for the presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item number 2, the approval of minutes. Is there any question or comment about the minutes?
I do have a comment about the minutes. I think there was one comment in there that San Rao, who had made a statement about DOLA, that he was supporting extending trials. He was supportive of extending trials only provided there was some fenced-in areas for the dogs. So we captured the fenced in, but you have to say with the fenced in, because it's otherwise misstating what he said. He was actually quite unhappy about what was happening at Monte Vista Park. So we want to make sure we capture that correctly, just for the record, because we don't want people to think, they come and make a statement and we ignore them. And I think it was that he preferred DOLAs at the larger parks for the reasons that he had stated about Monte Vista. That's the only comment I had.
I think that's a good correction and addition. When I read it, I was, sometimes the minutes, we try to use as few words, and sometimes we miss the caveats. And so,
again,
that's why we have this opportunity.
Yes, exactly. This is the opportunity to catch everything we possibly can. If there is it's not intended to point to anybody. It's just, let's capture the right information.
Okay, with that, do I have a motion?
Yes, if that's...
Point of order.
Yes.
If we could go to public comment. Oh, never mind. Oh, we have one person on Zoom who has raised their hand. We'd like
Okay,
to
so
comment.
we'll take the public comment.
And welcome, San R.
Yes, hi. Thank you for accommodating my public comment, but also thank you to Commissioner Begur for speaking on my behalf. I did send a mail on this topic as well. My comment last time was specifically that the winter hours are not representative of park usage. The regular patrons of the park are not present usually at the park because of the early sunsets, as well as rains and cold weather. And so your park traffic is not representative of what conditions would be like in the daylight saving time. With that comment in mind, I had also pointed out that there was a problem with small parks. It's just not possible to keep dogs within certain areas, and not in the walkways, and not on the streets, and not by areas where the kids are playing and so on. So I just wanted to clarify that comment. There'll be other opportunities for the comments, but I'll stop here just on the topic of the correction of minutes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for clarifying as well. Okay, now, can we have a motion on the minutes?
So I accept the approval of the minutes. So what am I saying? I approve the minutes, or to take the, whatever, how am I supposed to say this?
As amended.
As amended.
Would you like to make a motion?
That's right. That was the word that was the phrase I was looking for. So I make the motion to approve the minutes as with the amendment stated.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Is there?
Yes.
Oh, we're not voting. So now we'll get to voting. And then
And
we'll
please
vote with
your
our lights.
lights. Motion carries with 4 yes and 1 absent.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to postponements. I don't believe we have any postponements. And next we have oral communications. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons wishing to address the commission on any matter within the jurisdiction of the commission and not on the agenda. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. And we have a couple of cards, and I think 3 minutes will be fine. I don't think we have an overwhelming number of people, so we don't need to limit it today. So go ahead. And
All right, so we have 2 speaker cards and 1 hand on Zoom. Just as a reminder, if you wish to make a comment during oral communications, please either turn in your speaker card or raise your hand by the time the first speaker is done speaking. And our first speaker will be Toby Levitt, followed by Rhoda Fry. And welcome, Toby.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Toby Levitt. I work with the San Francisco Shakespeare Festival. We've been performing free Shakespeare in the park in the beautiful Memorial Park Amphitheater each summer since 1995. And we've been working closely with the Parks Department to bring Shakespeare's Cymbeline to the park again this summer. However, last Thursday, park staff let me know that they were experiencing some unexpected financial constraints that were affecting both their staffing levels and their ability to host free Shakespeare in the park this summer. I'm here to share these concerns and to ask for your help in finding solutions so that Free Shakespeare in the Park and many other beloved community events can continue this summer. It is so important that we have fun, wholesome activities that help us come together to build community. Of course, if resources are getting tighter, we hope to understand the scope of issues and to have some time to collaborate and discover how best to address these financial constraints. I very much appreciate the openness to meeting and finding paths forward together. Free Shakespeare in the Park is only possible through careful collaboration and coordination. Financially, the largest costs of putting on a play are associated with mounting the production, of designing and building and rehearsing the play. By sharing the annual summer production with multiple cities, with Cupertino being the marquee city in the South Bay, each city contributes only a small but very important portion of the cost of the program. The scale of the program also allows us to attract philanthropic funding from regional funders, such as the William and Flora Hewlett Foundation, and national funding from the National Endowment of the Arts. We go to great lengths to offer a high-quality, engaging production that is of value to the community. We cast diversely so members of the community see themselves represented on stage. We frequently partner with the Cupertino Library, and during the pandemic, we used our online platform to promote local businesses in Cupertino and Cupertino's community needs. With less than 3 months before rehearsals begin, and against a backdrop of theater companies still struggling and even closing due to ongoing pandemic impacts, we're hoping that our decade-long relationship with the City of Cupertino and the popularity of the program with local families are considered, and that we find a path forward to again put the program on a stable footing. I look forward to working with you to make this happen, and I hope to see you in the park again this summer. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And next we'll have Rhoda Fry. Welcome, Rhoda.
Hi, good evening. I gave you a handout earlier. Our state's public records reveal that in February 2023, the city had received no sales or use tax income. This is alarming because in the previous 3 years, income for February averaged $8 million. It's also alarming because by February 21, the city would have known that we had no money coming in. Meanwhile, we've been making decisions about future expenditures, capital improvements projects, and tonight, community grants. Now we're learning that Shakespeare in the Park is at risk of getting canceled due to fiscal constraints. Luckily, I've been working with Toby and brainstorming about how we can keep it here. What else is at risk? What is the process to determine how we cut programming? What can we do to set up public-private partnerships to retain our community programs? For example, Los Altos Music in the Park is subsidized by local businesses and individuals and their various levels of contributions. Shakespeare Organization is actually a nonprofit, so direct donations would be tax deductible. Now, I just kind of want to explain to you a little bit about the sales tax works. I do have a little overhead here. So each month, the state deposits estimated sales tax and use tax income to our city's bank account. In the second month after the quarter ends, there's this kind of leapfrog thing that happens. The state adjusts that deposit to reconcile the actual income from the previous quarter. This is called a true-up, okay? Although the 2022 Q4 deposits were much lower than those in 2021 and 2020 and somewhat lower than 2019, the true-up reduced February's deposit to zero. Zeros just don't happen. And there will be a further deductions in March of $323,000. We will know how we fared in Q1, that's January, February, March, on May 24th. So I've got a chart that I gave you as well. This is showing sort of the deposits going back to 2010. So this is a scary thing. We've got a double whammy coming. And that is, we were told last year around May about impending audit of one of our large sources of sales tax income. It's from the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration, also called CDTFA. So this is apparently unrelated, right? And that audit was predicted by the city to significantly impact, potentially significantly impact our revenues. So that's worrisome. So what we need to do, we need to reevaluate our spending habits and especially secure the pensions of our city employees. We need greater transparency and accountability. We should consider deferring capital improvement programs and reducing grants in order to preserve our summer community events. Let's also create partnerships with local businesses and community members to assist in funding our community events. Thank you.
Thank you, Rhoda.
And we will go to Zoom and welcome San R.
Good evening, Commission. I would like to echo the comments of the previous two speakers. As someone that studied Shakespeare in school and had several friends with better memory than me that were able to memorize all of Julius Caesar, if you can believe that, I was fortunate and privileged to study Shakespeare in school. I thought it had a very formative influence on me. I bring my kids to the Memorial Park every year to watch and appreciate Shakespeare in school, and I was greatly disappointed to hear that Parks and Rec is cutting funding for Shakespeare in the Park. I would like to express my support for the program. I would like to request the city to look at programs across the different city staff and be able to look at different commissions and look at how you can bring in a more balanced source of funding across these different projects. Specifically, I was looking at the CIP sheet, and I look at projects around the Bike and Pedestrian Commission, the Bullinger Road bike lane is a $4 million project with strong public opposition to it. I look at other bike lane projects, and it's 3.3 million on some of these bike lane projects. In comparison, the Parks and Rec projects have modest funding requirements ranging from 100,000 to 300,000. I will note also that several of the parks are in need of play area upgrades, as well as the long requested reservation system for the tennis courts in the public parks, and improved lighting for wintertime, better lit parks as well. So I would like to encourage you to work across the commissions. I hope we can support you through comments to the city manager and to the city council as well, that there should be more funding allocated to Parks and Rec, and it should come at the expense of some of the programs that have been well funded for many years, such as Bike Ped Commission, that has gotten several segregated bike lanes, and it's time for them to enjoy those bike lanes while we get to enjoy the parks a little bit more. So thank you for the time. I appreciate the opportunity to support Shakespeare. This is the smallest that we can do to retain appreciation for medieval and literary works that really appreciate the learnings of English literature from the past. Our children in schools these days barely get any chance to appreciate what English literature truly is. And these opportunities not only give them a chance to appreciate Shakespeare, but also to learn the acting and emoting skills and the various skills that go with being able to enact a complex play like Shakespeare with all of its emotions. So I do hope you will find the budget to support this. And I would also encourage you to cut some of the studies that are in progress. The Blackberry Farm golf course study has gone on ad nauseum. You heard from the public over and over again, we want to retain the golf course. We want to keep the golf course. It's a good place, not only a great place for golfers, but I actually go park there and just de-stress by looking at the golf course. I don't play golf myself. But I use the parking lot of the golf course to just sit and gaze at the golf course. I highly recommend it for all of you. If you haven't tried it someday, especially on a rainy day like this, you will enjoy it. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
And that is all.
That's all. Okay. That will close our oral communications, and we'll move on to written communications.
And we did receive written communications, and they were emailed to the commission, and they will be included in the record.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to old business. We don't have any on our agenda tonight.
No old business.
And I would just want to make a comment about the oral communications, because those are items that are not on our agenda. It is not up to us to be able to discuss those tonight. It may be possible to put those on future agendas, and we will see. Okay, moving on to new business. Item number 3, which is the fiscal year 2023-24 community funding application and evaluations, the recommendation for City Council.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to introduce once again to you Jacinta Lang, our management analyst.
Hi, good evening, Chair and fellow commissioners. I'll briefly share my screen to remind everyone on tonight's community funding application evaluation process. Okay. So we'll quickly go over the eligibility and then the evaluation process. So as mentioned in March's presentation, as well as staff concluded that 10 applications fully met eligibility requirements, which is reflected in the community funding application summary in attachment G. Final eligibility of the applications will be determined by the Commission during this evaluation process. To begin this item, we'll open this item for public comment. Then the chair will facilitate the eligibility conversation with the commissioners. I will then share my screen again and collect the commissioners' total scores out of 100 for each applicant. The scores will be taken in order by organization and not by commissioner, so we will go laterally across attachment E. The chair will then ask commissioners if they have any questions and then open it up for commissioner discussion before determining a recommendation for City Council. All right, I'll turn it over to Chair right now.
Thank you very much. So at this time, I'd like to open it up for public comment.
All right, so we have 3 speaker cards in person, and as of right now, no hands raised on Zoom. But just as a reminder, if you wish to comment on this item, please either turn in a speaker card or raise your hand on Zoom by the time the first speaker is done speaking. So our first speaker will be the Asian American Parents Association, Leanne, Alex, and Carlos, followed by Rhoda Fry, followed by Anusha. And welcome to the Asian American Parents Association.
Good evening, dear Commissioner. My name is Lian Zhao. I am the co-president of Asian American Parent Association. Last year, AAPA, together with the BU students, we host the AAPA Multicultural Festival in Mountain View. But this year, we will host the festival in Cupertino, right? In the Civil Plaza. Then we have different community from Korea, the Filipino, Indian, Chinese community. We have booths, we have a performance, we have games. So I would like to introduce the student that will do the presentation.
Yeah, so thank you for this opportunity. I just want to give some quick background on the Asian American Parent Association as well as Bay Youth. So AAPA is a group of concerned Asian parents from San Jose and Cupertino, and they have a goal of bridging communication between the Cupertino Union School District as well as the Fremont Union High School Districts, and they hope to, but they hope to bridge the connection between those districts as well as participate in community initiatives. And we are Bay Youth students, which is short for Bay Area Youth Initiative. We're a student-run journalism-focused nonprofit, and we run and cover community events, and we've participated in events such as rallies and homeless visits before.
Sorry, really quickly, if you guys want the slides to change, we're running them, so just tell us to change the slide.
Okay, could you go? Okay. So as a quick overview on what the grant is going to, the Multicultural Festival is an all-inclusive and free event to the public, and there will be performances and booths. The booths will educate people about their culture through visual displays, crafts, and games, and the performances will include cultural dances and songs. There will also be special panel speakers that will share their stories and unique experiences. And the community benefits will include unifying the Asian American Pacific Islander community by creating a safe and tight-knit space. And it also provides opportunities for cultural expression, such as art, food, dance, and literature.
So we are asking for $3,000 to help facilitate this amazing event. $1,250 of it will go towards material costs, such needed to set up booths at the event, like tents and decorations. And then another $750 will go towards entertainment costs to invite singers, dancers, and speakers, as well as buying a new sound system. And another $500 will go towards miscellaneous costs, such as insurance, certificates, and refreshments for volunteers. So thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. Thank you. So we used last month's meeting to ask questions of the applicants, and that's not agendized tonight. So the commissioners will not be asking questions tonight.
Thank you.
of the applicants.
All right, and next is Rhoda Fry.
Hi, earlier this evening I delivered you comments from Peggy Griffin, and I'd like to read them to you, and I will add some of my own comments as well. In light of the recent revelation that the city's future revenue will be reduced due to significantly less sales tax and also pending audit results, I'm asking you to postpone your decision on community funding grants. The total funding for Parks and Rec program need to be prioritized to ensure that they benefit the most number of residents, young and old. If you decide on these grants tonight, will the overall pot of money allocated to Parks and Rec be reduced by the total amount of these grants? The well-attended and multi-generational, multiracial, multi-everything program, I like how she said that, called Shakespeare in the Park, has been notified that they might not have funding. Please spend time to prioritize all of the Parks and Rec programs so that the city and its residents get the biggest bang for the fewest dollars allocated. You know, what I'm seeing right now is we're flying blind on allocating money. We need to have somebody in finance, city council, whatever, inform us what the situation truly is. I mean, I'm going in and just looking at the sales tax revenue that we're getting from the state, and that is real data. But you know, we need to hear it from our city staff and city council leaders. The other question I did have about was, you know, we wound up getting a really great paid director for the Historical Society, and that was part of our reasoning for giving money to the Historical Society, and she's no longer there. So does that kind of seems to me that it kind of changes the optics with respect to that. So those are my comments. But anyway, you will I'm guessing Peggy's comments will be part of the administrative records. So anybody who looks at them will be able to see where I've added to her comments. So this is sort of, I'm wearing two hats now. But anyway, thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
And there are no hands raised on Zoom. Oh, so sorry. I'm forgetting the third speaker card. Welcome, Anusha. I do apologize. And I will share your slides as well.
All right. Do we start whenever, or are we still waiting on the slide? Oh, perfect. Thank you. All right, so hi everyone, I'm Divya, and I'm one of the presidents of Monte Vista Speech.
I'm Anusha, and I'm the other president.
And I'm Shreyas, I'm a team captain and help manage the team's website.
All right, next slide, please. So the Monte Vista Speech team essentially strengthens the speech community at Monte Vista High School, and so today we're going to talk a little bit about our team and what we're going to do with the funds that we hope to request through the community grant, as my colleague Shreyas will be explaining later on in this presentation. And so we continuously work on improving speaking and augmentation skills. And public speaking has been proving to have multiple benefits, ranging from improving confidence through building critical thinking skills. But ultimately, what we really focus on at Monte Vista High School is to ensure that we're empowering each other to be able to speak on our own voices and our own opinions, and ultimately build up some self-confidence that is very essential to high schoolers. And next slide, please. You will see from our alumni testimonials that speech builds a lot of skills that are not only used in our high school careers, but ultimately in the future as well, through college and the future of our careers. And so ultimately, personally, I was this shy introvert back in middle school, and speech has really helped me branch out and talk to an audience today. And so I think that's what we hope to build in our community through this grant, especially because we're competing against other private school programs and really want to ensure the best for our kids.
This past year, Monte Vista Speech has a team of 107 students with 5 coaches and 4 chaperones. Coming back from a year of completely online tournaments, we were able to attend 15 tournaments ranging from both online and in-person tournaments, as well as a couple travel tournaments. Monte Vista Speech as a whole ranks 5th in the state of California out of 300 schools and 26th in the nation out of 3,500. Furthermore, we have won sweepstakes awards at some very prestigious tournaments and invitationals throughout the years, such as Berkeley and Stanford. Something new about this year is that we have 10 qualifiers for the state tournament, while the only other public school in the area is sending 14 competitors. We also have 2 students qualifying for the national tournament. Our request is to have the city's support to continue this amazing opportunity and this program for our prospective students.
Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay. MV Speech has been a blessing for me as a captain that's helping run the team and as a committed competitor that has qualified and has placed at the state and national tournament. I have experienced and seen firsthand how this team builds a student's confidence, interpersonal skills, and competitive abilities. And our wonderful group of coaches, captains, and parents continue to foster a culture of bonding and welcomeness in our community through team bonding events as well as several informational nights for the community. Next slide, please. We're requesting $10,000 to maintain the quality of this team for the next year. This $10,000 will help us sponsor the speech careers of several in-need students in our summer camp, as well as pay for coaching fees and expand the coaching program at Monte Vista and continue to offer speech and debate at a minimal cost and at a high quality.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And there are no hands raised on Zoom.
Okay, I will bring it back to, I'll close the public comment and we'll bring it back to the commission for clarifying questions. And the clarifying questions tonight, since last time we had clarifying questions regarding the applications, so that is not agendized tonight. We have clarifying comments about the process tonight, and that's what we'll be discussing. So are there any questions, clarifying questions about the process? Commissioner Begor.
So we've done this ranking here. So how are we sharing the ranking? Are we mailing it to some?
So
we'll just read it.
So the way it's going to work is we'll have our discussion, then we will, based on additional, the public feedback and your final comments, I think they're going to be asking us for our total scores. And we will be providing them one by one, and then they will go and compile them, and then we will bring it back to a discussion based on the aggregate, and decide what our recommendation should be to the council.
Okay.
Are there any other clarifying questions about the process?
No, I mean I think that was the thing we did. I think that same question. We did rank, so are we going to discuss today, or that was the same question?
Okay. Right? Okay. The one question I had about the process was on the spreadsheet, and there is one and we have it broken out between new applicants and returning applicants. And there's one applicant, STEM Boost, I believe, who's here that has not received a grant in the past, but they are included with the returning. And so I wanted to get your feedback on that, and I had a few comments of that for myself.
So our hope was to allow you to know that they have applied in the past. However, after speaking with a couple commissioners about the actual how you rank them, there are different questions for new versus returning. So we will rank them as a new person. So those 5 numbers you'll want to do for STEM Boost as new, not returning. But it was important to us that the commission know that they have applied in the past. They have not received funds, however.
Thank you.
But then those boxes are kind of shaded out, grayed out.
Yeah, so just use those questions, but use the boxes next to them.
Okay, so that's what we did. Yeah, that's what we did.
Yeah, so you can just put it in. It's still 5 points, but it's a different question.
Right. No,
so
that's fine.
It'll add up.
That's fine. But you feel like, okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Good.
I
Thanks
just wanted
for
to be fair
clarification.
to all the applicants.
Through the chair, just to clarify, you will not be turning in your actual forms with your numbers. You will be speaking the numbers to Jacinta today as she puts them into the Excel sheet, and you will see how the numbers will add up today as we do it live.
And when we give the numbers, do we try to explain the reasoning? It can go
Not at
on
this
and
time.
on. Okay.
No, you will literally just give your total out of 100.
Oh, just the total.
Just the total.
Just the total,
Okay.
right. And then there will be an opportunity, once we see how the average is all, where the ranking is based on all of our input, then we can have a discussion if we believe that there's an applicant that really we have a strong feeling about one way or another that should be ranked higher or lower. So it's worth the discussion.
Yeah,
so it's not just a numbers game.
Yeah, I think it's important to know our thought process, right? What was I thinking about some of the really brilliant projects, but my thought process about that, your thought process. I mean,
yes.
I think that opportunity probably may help community as well as us to know about each other's thought process.
Yeah, and it may be that, there are many qualified applicants, and our job is to see how do those applications fit with the program that has been presented to us. So it may be that there's a very qualified applicant, but it may not be fitting with the community grants so much, so that even if someone is ranking lower or scored lower, it doesn't mean that the commissioner thinks that they are an unworthy applicant. It may just be that commissioner thinks that they don't fit with this program as well as some of the other applicants.
Right.
Okay. Vice Chair Sharon.
So just to be clear, we're going to first state our totals, and then we're going to discuss. Is that the plan? Forgive me, I'm
No,
getting a
you're
little
new.
lost.
No, that's okay. So we're going to do a quick discussion about eligibility.
Okay.
And then we're going to look at what we've already done as a preliminary scoring, decide if you have any changes. And then once we get comfortable with where our individual preliminary scoring is, we will have the staff will ask us what our total score is by applicant. Then they will compile that and show us the results. And we will see that based on an average raw score as well as the rankings. And we can see where does it look and have a discussion about that.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, if there's no other clarifying comments about the questions, I'd like to get to the discussion of eligibility. So as we've seen, there were 12 when we started this process a month ago. Rotary had an application in for the field waiver as well as community grant, and they have decided that they would like to pursue the field waiver. So they are no longer part of this. So when you're going down this, are we going to skip that row? So you're not going to ask for a score for those, or should we just have those as?
No, you won't score for Rotary. They're definitely out.
Okay.
Yeah.
They have asked to be out.
They have asked to be out. Okay.
Right.
Okay. And the other one was Valkyrie Robotics, where there was a follow-up question. And based on the answer to that question, which was that the funding was going to, why don't you help us with that, if you could review that?
I will leave it over to Jacinta.
Okay. So for Valkyrie Robotics, also mentioned in the staff report, the organization charges admission fees for their Valkyrie Advanced Summer Program. And with the recent community funding policy, the restrictions and guidelines state that admission to or participation in the event must be free of charge. So since they are charging for their summer program, this deems their application ineligible. And we have reached out and let the organization know that.
Okay, thank you. So I think part of their request was for scholarships for students that were going to participate. And because there was a fee, then they were deemed ineligible. So I just wanted to clarify that. So those were those two. So my next question is for discussion here. As we talk about the Monte Vista Speech Boosters, they have asked for $10,000, of which $6,000 is for scholarships. And so what that's telling me is that there is a cost to participate here, and some students will get a scholarship to participate for free, but not everyone will be participating for free. And so that made me think that I'm not sure that they are eligible given the way that they have presented this. They have said that everything is a donation. It is the parents are asked to provide a donation, but because they're asking for scholarships, it leads me to believe that it's not really free the way the program is intended. Our community grants are designed. So I'd like to get anyone else's comment on that.
I think one thing we should clarify is it a sliding scale scholarship? Because when you are in this speech and debate and all this, you are traveling, you have a lot of expenses. And if there is a sliding scale scholarship, means based on the income, you supporting those activities, I don't think that's a fees. That's not fees. That's actually, because I'm associated with some organizations, we have sliding scale scholarships for somebody who has lost job or things like that. You still want to promote those activities. I'm not saying this is the right activity, wrong activity, but I'm just saying that the sliding scale scholarship is important for any organization to provide.
Right. So
as a
the
nonprofit
question
organization,
is, how does that fit with the community grant program? Vice Chair Sharon.
As a parent of a past student in speech and debate at Cupertino High School, same sort of thing as we see here at Monte Vista, I can kind of tell you how it works. For all public schools, you are not allowed to say a fee is required. You must call it a donation. However, overwhelmingly, of course, the parents tend to pay the donations, as I did, for my daughter. And the issue comes in with travel and expenses like that. And those are not covered, meaning if a child doesn't have a ride there, hopefully they can find a ride with someone, but no one's going to cover their hotel. I mean, all of those expenses are beyond what the school would kind of cover. And so I was a little just confused about a scholarship sort of thing, because typically when you do summer programs for this sort of thing, they charge students, but you're kind of charging yourself, if you know what I mean. It's a scholarship to your own program. So typically when I think of scholarships, I think you give a set amount of money and then somebody spends it somewhere. But this scholarship doesn't seem that way. It seems like you're allowing people to go free to something that you're already putting on. So it's a little bit different. So I also am a little not certain about whether or not you consider this fees or not, but I do know that there are definite expenses that are going to be taken by the parents, typically, of the student, or the student, assuming they have another job or something like that. So,
Commissioner Begor.
I have experience with Monte Vista and a bunch of different clubs, but way long ago, so I don't know how it's progressed since. My belief is that, not all parents can pay for all the clubs. And so often, I remember I believe there was one club where they used to actually have a scholarship, so to speak. So they compensated, just like he explained, for parents who were not able to pay for the kid to be part of that club. So it's not exactly a fees, it is a fees and it's not a fees, but again, this is all part of helping the entire community. So my take on this is because they're not really charging for the event itself, and that's the criteria we have defined here, charging for the event, and we're not charging for the event. So this is to help the kids. Maybe we can be clearer next time so we don't have such ambiguities and we can ask these questions up front. But we've come to the point where the staff believes they're eligible. We kind of have to trust that the homework has been done. But I do believe that in this case it's probably helping for the entire club. and being able to let a lot more kids participate.
So the $6,000 there, once whatever money is available, then the next kid that can't pay might not be able to participate. So the answer is it's not really free. There are fees that are going to have to be paid, maybe not to the club, maybe to tournaments or other places. So,
sorry,
Vice Chair Sharon, go ahead.
So perhaps Commissioner Belger could explain about how in your clubs that you had experience with, that they identified students who had these needs, because that's I'm not clear on.
Okay, so I personally was not involved in figuring out the actual student who required the information or the help. So the school has a advisor who's involved in all of this, and the children have the right to go up and talk to the advisor and explain their situation. And the advisor would then subsequently decide that this child is in requirement, or they're on, the principal or whoever's involved already knows the situation with the family. So they have ways of determining that this particular family is in need of this help. Have I done that? No. Have I paid my fees? Yes, for 3 kids. So that's the situation.
Thank you. That does help.
Okay. So just to bring this back, we can, I guess, decide that we can move forward and score them if we'd like to do that, or is there anyone who would not like to score them? And just note that we don't know that. We were not able to ask questions because they did not come at the meeting last time.
No, I think I would score them. I'll score them.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm fine with scoring them.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that.
I guess just based on your concern as of this time, next time onwards, we will request all of them that if they've made a community grant application, to at least have one person come up and stand up there and make the real request.
Okay. So are there any other comments on eligibility of any of the other applicants? Okay, I don't see any. And so I guess now what I'd like to do is we'll have everyone look at your scoring and decide if you want to make any adjustments, and we'll maybe take a 5-minute break for that, or are we going to have a couple of breaks, because we need to finish our scoring, and then you need to, no, you're going to be ready to go. Okay. Do you want 5-minute break to do your scoring, and then they'll ask us our scores?
No, I'm ready.
I'm ready with my scores.
I'm ready.
Okay. Emmett, you're ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have another question?
I had another slightly different comment. I don't know if this is the time and place for it.
Okay, so we are going to get to discussing each applicant a little bit later.
Not the applicants.
It's
not the applicants. It's not even the process.
Yeah, okay.
It's just
Let's see where
given
it
the
goes.
information we have. Is the community grant something, this is really a question for the director, is the community funding something that comes out of the Parks and Rec budget, or is it a separate budget that the city allots to us?
It is a separate budget item. It does not come out of Parks and Recreation.
So technically, even though we may list everybody and do whatever we want to do, which is our usual process, the city council can then decide, oops, we don't have the money, or
Yes.
they can say we'll only take this. I
Yes,
just want
all
to be clear,
final
because
decisions will be up to council on what they decide to do.
okay, the reason I asked that question is because there was a concern about, if we're getting zero revenue, where the heck are we spending money from? So I want to be sure that we address that.
Yeah. I think when we get down to our recommendation for council, we can certainly have that discussion.
I do have that.
Okay. Vice Chair Sharon.
So one of the things I noticed as I was going through over and over the applications is that we have these specific evaluation criteria, and I hope that it was provided to each of the applicants. But I'm wondering if there's a way in the future to make it more clear this is what they're going to be evaluated on. Because sometimes I found that I didn't have, they probably know it in their minds, but I didn't have the information that I needed. So therefore I had to go based on what they gave me. So is maybe in the future, is there a way that we can make sure that they know what we're going to be scoring them on?
So the evaluation criteria is in the policy on the website and told to the group. So it's very out there. There was a policy change, obviously, this year. There was a subcommittee of City Council that did update the policy. So I do believe that some of the returning applicants may not have noticed that there was a change. However, we are always happy to send out more information whenever we can.
Okay, so that clears up my question of they had it all. If they chose to respond to it or not, I guess that's on the applicant. Okay, thank you.
Okay, if we're ready, then we'll let staff collect the scores.
All right, back to Jacinta.
Just hang on. She's coming.
Okay, are you guys able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So we will start with the first organization, and I'll go with Chair Stanek. This is for INOC and their eye exams and eyeglasses project. And your score out of 100?
60.
Vice Chair Sharon?
65.
Commissioner Bedore?
85.
Commissioner Booch?
85.
Okay, and then now we go to the Asian American Parents Association for the Cupertino Multicultural Fair. Chair Stanek?
40.
Vice Chair Sharon?
22.
Commissioner Bedore?
75.
Commissioner Booth?
65.
And the next organization, No Time to Waste, for their 7 to 50 Feed the Need program. Chair Stanek?
90.
Vice Chair Sharon?
75.
Commissioner Bedore?
90.
Commissioner Booch?
65.
Okay, next organization, God's Promise, for their Turn Food Waste into Garden Soil program. Chair Stanek?
18.
Vice Chair Sharon?
25.
Commissioner Bedore?
42.
48.
Okay. And then we are moving to the returning applicants, Cupertino Symphonic Band, and their funding for their funding request for band equipment. Chair Stanek?
91.
Vice Chair Sharon?
90.
Commissioner Bedore?
75.
Commissioner Booch?
70.
And the next organization, Omniware Networks, for their mental health program. Chair Stanek?
62.
Vice Chair Sharon?
56.
Commissioner Bedore?
75.
75.
And then from our recent conversation, so STEM Boost will be counted as a new applicant. So this is for the Elementary Science Olympiad Fun Day and Night request. And scoring, Chair Stanek?
72.
Vice Chair Sharon?
78.
Commissioner Bedore?
75.
Commissioner Booth?
85.
Next organization, the Monte Vista High School Speech Boosters for the year, for their speech program. Chair Stanek?
28.
Vice Chair Sharon?
25.
Commissioner Bedore?
75.
55.
Next, we have the West Valley Community Services for the Gift of Hope 2023 event. Chair Stanek,
97.
Vice Chair Sharon,
95.
Commissioner Bigor,
55.
and Commissioner Booth.
65.
Okay, next we have Women SB, and this is for funding for the Curriculum Development Project. Chair Stanek,
24.
Vice Chair Sharon,
22.
Commissioner Bigor,
85.
and Commissioner Booth.
45.
So we've tabulated, this is just a tab that we want to, or that shows the commissioner average. If we want to show it from largest to, or the highest to lowest, this is out of 100. So we have Chino Symphonic Band at the top with God's Promise at the bottom. And then the next tab I will show will show all the additional details and also the breakdown of rankings by each commissioner. So here it is. And then so I can score it by highest to lowest. And if you have any questions.
Is it possible to show the comparison, just like column K on this one with on the other worksheet by the raw scores, so we can see, like, are the top 3 the same, the top 4 the same? I mean, it may be that they're very close. I think my quick look is they're pretty close.
Oh, okay. Did you want to show it side by side?
Yeah, if we could.
See if I can do it.
All right.
So on this one, we've got commission ranking. Those are just going 1 through 10. On column H, that one's that's looking odd to me because it's just like in something's going on there.
Formula.
I mean, maybe if you just add a column and to the next slide, and we could add the raw scores in there, and so that we could like change the ranking, either do the rankings by the scores or rankings by the raw scores, and we could see the similarity. Does that make sense?
Did you want the scores for each commissioner or just?
No, I'd like the average. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
See if I'm able to just copy and paste those.
Jacinta, if you take the average from the all orgs, it's going to be easier for you.
Oh, from here?
Yes.
Oh yeah, because it's
That's why they pay the big bucks.
So
this is,
they might not be in the same order. That's why.
Yeah.
So if we look here, if we just maybe call them out. So here, the top 3 are Cupertino Symphonic Band, No Time to Waste, and West Valley Community Services. That's on the raw scores. If we go to the other one, what are the top 3 in the rank? They are Symphonic Band, No Time to Waste, and West Valley Community Services. Are those the same 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're the same.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, and
I was
then
confused at first.
STEM
'Cause
boost
I made the commissioner, or I transferred
is
commissioner
next.
average over to here.
Okay. Okay, we're good now.
Okay. And we're selecting only 3, right?
No. So what we're going to do is we have a a highest priority to lowest priority here.
Right.
And we need to give a recommendation to council. We've done this a couple ways in the past. We have done, and then they've done other things. But I have a feeling, I mean, the feedback that I've heard is that the council would like to hear, we've done a lot of work on this. It's over 2 meetings. And I hope that they will take our input seriously. Of course, given the budget situation, things may change. So I'm thinking a prioritization may be very useful to the council once they decide how much budget they're really going to have for this. And we can see what is the cumulative budget if we go through the first 4 or 5. But I'm thinking just the priority is going to help them as they go through and say, okay, if we give this much budget, who would we get? And if dollars are going to be tight, I think that'll be useful rather than us saying, let's give these 3 or something else.
Yeah. And often they've always often the budget has always been a sliding scale. So it's useful if you give them a little bit more, and they can do what they want, which they will.
Right. And we can also suggest a slab, right? That, hey, do we need to consider 10K, or do we say, max out at 5K based on the request, 5,000, because there's some $10,000 requests, 5,000, 2,500. In top 5 or 6, we have, so can we cap off that? We'll cap off at as a recommendation.
What we've found in the past is that trying to second guess the amount that has been requested has been very difficult to get a consensus on.
Okay.
So what we've seen is that the applicants know what they're asking for, and they have a project in mind, and they're either going to get it or they're not. That's the way we've done it in the past.
And we do give them the tiers, though.
But that wasn't by the tiers that we provided council were by, these were our top priority, next priority, and tiers, we don't, or maybe there's some that we don't recommend.
Yeah.
So, but it wasn't, they asked for 10, we recommend giving them 5.
No, we've never done that.
Yeah. I think that is a much different kind of conversation that we have not, that this process doesn't really lend itself to.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone else would like to weigh in on that. I think Commissioner
I'm in agreement. I think it's really difficult, especially if they're doing projects where if they only get half of it, they might say, can we change the project? Can we not change it? I think it would be really difficult. We should probably just stick with what they asked for.
I mean, we recommend what they ask for, and there have been times when the council has decided that they will be able to give a small portion of it, which they can use or not use, which they also did one time.
Right, and they can spread it a little more.
They can spread it a little more.
Yeah.
Do we do some comments now on the ranking or discuss?
We can do some comments on ranking. I mean, at some point we'll take a motion of what we'd like to present. So if you'd like to do some
I think that'd be nice. Yeah, for us to explain sometimes.
Some of the things that
because I don't want anyone to leave
like why are we so different?
Shows what I did.
Yeah. So one of the things West Valley has come back a few times, and I've always ranked at the top. That was always one of my top ones. I truly believe that West Valley should be a program in itself, as opposed to coming back to community funding every time. And I think when you start ranking it, my belief is that somebody will get the message, because I've written to City Council before and said, please do this separately. I think the Rotary should be handled separately. I think the Historical Society was handled separately. Let's keep these programs that take a large amount of money, that do serve a purpose, and they are regular. I mean, they're going to come every year. Why do that as part of community grant? Do that as part of a regular basis. This gives opportunities for other people to try. There's so many different ideas that come. I mean, every time we see a different set of things that come by. So it's kind of nice to have, that was my reasoning for why I scored West Valley so low, because usually West Valley is my top 95.
Right.
So just wanted to explain
So the good news is that you still support them as an organization, but for this purpose.
And then the second part of it is when you look at the board of the West Valley, they have everybody and his uncle from the Democratic Party and other influential. I'm sure they'll be able to raise the 10,000 in a jiffy. So they should get something from the Cupertino City as a special program and leave the community funding to the community, because it serves more than just Cupertino, right?
Yeah,
West Valley
I tend to
I think
agree.
so. What I think I want to do, just to bring this in, let's. I didn't try to do 5 minutes each, but let's try to do 5 minutes each. I don't know how much Commissioner Begor just use. We'll say 3 minutes. So you've got some time left.
Okay.
Okay.
So.
If you want to do it now, or we can pick you up later.
Let me just finish my thought process. So definitely for me, the no time to waste, obviously was very high in my list of things, because yes, we need to feed people. I also felt that, things like Cupertino Symphonic Band, we need a little friends and fun. We can't keep just doing, charity things. We could have a little fun. And in that same context, though, I thought the glasses one, the AINAK, was kind of interesting. I was a little bit concerned on that one because it said 50 students, but when you read the application, it says De Anza College students as well. I want this community funding to be for people of Cupertino. There are lots of other organizations that help other people. So it was a little bit taken away, but gift of sight is something that I think ranks high. For me, Omniware, Monta Vista, STEM Boost, and actually the Symphony were all at the same level because they're all good programs in themselves. Which need to be funded. I'm very surprised that no other school comes by and asks us for the money, except for Monta Vista and Kennedy associated schools. But that's my thought process. So with that, I will let everybody else have the floor.
Vice Chair Sheeran.
Thank you, Commissioner Begor. So I'll start with what you just mentioned, which is the Monta Vista School speech boosters. I spent a long time in a lot of PTAs, and I'm familiar with the FUHSD Foundation. And I find that when you're talking about school clubs, the ideal location for them to receive funding is via the PTSA or the Fremont Union High School Foundation. I worry that if we have clubs coming to Cupertino, we're singling out Monta Vista, or we're singling out Cupertino, we're singling out, Eaton Elementary. I don't want to do that. I want something that is best for all of our students. So that's basically one of my thoughts on the Monta Vista speech boosters. I didn't see in their application that they had applied elsewhere, and that's one of our criteria is to other funding sources, for example. So, or uniqueness of a program. There's just a lot of things that for me, unfortunately, brought them down, even though I completely support the speech club there, and I think it's excellent for students. And I'm glad that they are amazing at what they do, and they've won so many awards. The ones that I really went high were the Cupertino Symphonic Band, because it reaches out to so many of our residents have enjoyed it on a variety of occasions, and reasonable cost. They were very clear in their application about what they're going to be using it for, and they've, they get other funding sources. It was wonderful. Same with No Time to Waste, and also the West Valley Community Services. I see what you're saying, Commissioner Begor, about maybe making it a continuing item, but unfortunately it's not right now. That would be up to the council to do. I can only work with the information that we were given, which is they need money, and it definitely meets all of the criteria that we have for evaluation. Also high was STEM Boost. I think that they have a real demonstrated ability to do this program, and I think it'll be very appealing to a lot of our students and parents. just to go back to some of the other ones that I didn't rank as highly, I have a lot of concerns financially about Women SV. They did not tell us what they did with their last couple grants. And we're really not clear about that, as well as some of the information that Rochelle has shared with us as well about their financial dealings. It makes me very nervous about that particular organization. God's Promise, I think that they need a little bit more experience in this particular thing before plus it's not as unique. And then the last would be the Asian American parents. I love the idea of a parents group. We had one of those at Cupertino High School that did wonderful work. One of the biggest things I was not really certain about was the uniqueness of the program and event. And we have a wonderful Cherry Blossom Festival, the Diwali Festival. We just have a lot of different festivals here, and I don't know if this is anything particularly different from what we have right now. So one thing I would encourage all the applicants is to really look at the evaluation criteria and speak to those specific questions, because I think that will make your application a lot stronger. So those are my overall thoughts on everything, and there you go.
Okay. Commissioner Bush.
Yeah, I think I'm happy we selected the Cupertino Symphonic Band. I think that's some fun activity. We need that, like Shakespeare in the Park. Those kind of things are really community, for community in summer, different. So I'm happy there. No time to waste. It's something sometimes surprising to see how many people in Cupertino would also be using or they would be serving. So that I'm okay with that. I think West Valley community, again, like Commissioner Bagor said, I think they seem like loaded in many ways, plus their budget for staff and other aspects of other expenses seem to be pretty big. And RVs, how much of it we are supporting with this versus giving directly to the people who are going to be served. I know this is just a small portion of their overall budget, very small portion, and that's why I didn't feel like we'll really impact them either way, whether we select or we don't select. But somehow, I guess that's how I felt, but I wasn't that aggressive in my scoring, like some of you have done. I can't imagine going down to 20s or something. I was like, wow, even if, because every cause is a worthy cause. To rank them that low, I felt horrible about it. So I said, they all deserve to be at certain level. But anyway, we learned something. STEM Boost definitely is it's a good, because it's reaching out to elementary schools. Unlike the Monta Vista, I think is a little more focused in one school, and happens to be the most expensive area school. So and education is free here, so a little bit of expense on some extracurricular activity would not hurt parents as much. So I think I'm fine with the scoring there. That's kind of how I was thinking about it. INAC, I ranked high because it's a little unique program. They don't need too much money, good thing is. And I have my niece in Dianza College, and she has just come from India. And I asked her, and she has socialized this idea in their group, and they all seem to have liked it. So I said, hey, $2,500, might as well extend and request them to spread a little more and see how this new program would work, right? Next time we can ask what you really did. Did you really give it to how many Dianza students or some other students in Cupertino schools? So I thought there was not much to lose in giving $2,500 to them, is what I felt. That's it.
Okay, so my thoughts are very similar to a lot of yours. With respect to West Valley Community Services, I feel like I completely agree they should be in the budget. But again, they are not there. It took us a couple years to get council to recognize that the Cupertino Historical Society should be something that they support on an ongoing basis. And I think West Valley Community Services is giving to our community so directly to the most needy. And they are doing such a wonderful job and efficiently. And yes, they have a big budget, but they are serving a lot of people. And so I think Cupertino should show their support for them, even though they have a good ability to raise funds. I think Cupertino should show them our love, because they're showing their love for our residents who are in need. So that's my comment there. The symphonic band, I think this one, as well as a few others, it's the kind of thing where we're getting a broad audience for not a lot of dollars. And I think that was brought up in the community comments today, is can we be giving money where it's going to benefit our residents? And I really was looking for resident-focused programs, and the symphonic band is definitely one where, yes, they will have these instruments, and they will give their concerts to us, and we all need that. The No Time to Waste, that's the food, they're getting the food waste and providing it to West Valley, which it makes so much sense from an environmental perspective, as well as helping those in need. And it's not, again, not a lot of money. They are doing a lot of fundraising themselves, but they're looking for some partners, and I think we should support that. The STEM Boost, I think, they have, they've gotten money. Have they gotten money before? No, they haven't, but they modified their program based on the requirements. And I think they've come back with something that fits our requirements better. And that's where I say, we've been given criteria to look at for this funding. And if it's ranked low, it's not that the organizations are not worthy. And I hope that no one takes that away from the way the scoring was. It is, in the view of the commissioner, how it fits into the program. And so that's where I was there. I love the eyeglasses thing. I think it's unique, and they're just doing it on their own. They're providing a lot of their own funding, which I found very refreshing, and they wanted some help there. The Omniware networks, this is, they're going to help go do some outings for seniors, and it's going to be free. We do have a program very similar that I learned about at the volunteer lunch through the senior center. But so it doesn't hurt to have a few more opportunities for seniors to get out on these kind of outings. So I like that a lot. So yeah, those were the ones that I thought really fit the best with what I've seen for what the council is looking for in community grants.
Can I make one last comment?
Sure. Vice Chair Sharon.
I just want to say thank you to all my fellow commissioners. I really appreciate hearing why you voted the way you did. It really helped me, so thank you.
I guess one more comment about Women SV. My concern about that one was that it was not specifically related to Cupertino. And so that was a big problem for me with this amount of money. It was it's the top amount that we even give them an opportunity to ask for, and it was not identified at all really with our local community. And so I would love to see there are women in need, but this one did not demonstrate that it was for our community, and that's a lot of money.
Yeah, I just have one comment, a couple of comments actually, if you don't mind.
Sure.
The women in SV, I would say I did get carried away a little bit. I was like, there aren't enough
gets your
women's
heart,
organizations that do good. So yes, it's okay that it benefits other people, but that was one. Just with, I mean, I'm not necessarily partial to Monte Vista, but there are people in trouble in all areas.
Yeah, No,
just
100%,
you know.
100%.
So that's kind of where I came from with all these.
Okay, so I'm thinking, could I have a motion? I'm thinking if we want to provide the priority and, you know, with a line that say these we definitely have a strong recommendation for, these we have a no recommendation. We could either have a yes, no, or I think a yes, no is easier.
Yes, no is easier.
So I would like someone to draw a line.
I wonder if looking at this, it looks like there's kind of a big gap between from the Omniware networks down to the Asian. That might be an easy line for us. What is everyone thinking?
You know, we've looked at that in the past. Is where is there a gap in terms of the scoring, and that has often been a good place for us to draw a line.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I think then in that case we don't have to go through individually. We can just say 51 and below and the above are recommended.
So I have a slightly different view. Oh, there we go.
Thank you.
I have a slightly different view. I think we take out the bottom 2 out of the 10 because they've really scored low. And then we recommend those 2 as not valid or no recommendation, and then the rest is up to the council whether they want to go this far or they want to stop at Omniware.
Oh, I think they'll do that anyway. I mean, if we give them our recommendation with the priority list, they are free to make
do what
the
they
decision.
want to. They may even stop
right?
at the first one.
All right.
Through the chair, I just want to remind you that as of last year, we were asked to make sure that if there were some that we didn't recommend, we had a consensus reason from the commission that we can forward on with the recommendation.
Okay, thank you.
So in that context, I definitely do not recommend God's Promise. Everybody agrees on that?
Yes. I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Although I ranked Women SV higher, I would still stick with that as well.
I agree with that.
I agree with that.
I agree.
Those are my 2, unless we have anything else.
To me, there's only 2-point difference between speech boosters and Women SV. To draw the line between the 2 of them seems.
Yeah, I would add them in the list.
Yeah,
I would go with that.
So I would not recommend
that.
that.
I would not recommend that.
And then for the next one, the Asian American Parents Association, although the scoring is lower, it's not a lot of money. So would you be comfortable, even though there is a gap between that and the next one, would you be comfortable leaving it on there?
Yeah, I'm fine.
We could leave it on there and then leave it up to the council.
Leave it up to the council.
And
at
least
this is our priority
it's
ranking.
above 50, you know.
That's what we can do. Above 50.
Yeah, above 50.
Yes.
I like it. Let's do that.
Enough,
Do we have a motion?
Yes.
Are we ready for a motion?
Yes.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
You may motion, but before you close the item, I do want like a concise from the commission as a whole, the reasoning to send to council behind Monte Vista Speech Boosters, Women SV, and God's Promise.
Okay.
I think we could say that they did not appear to meet enough of our evaluation criteria as a high enough rank.
As someone who sits in the back of a council meeting almost every time we have one, I don't believe that's enough specificity.
So let me take a crack at, since I'm going to be the one probably presenting this, and they're going to be asking me, going from the bottom up. God's Promise, I would say the application was not complete enough to give us confidence in their ability to do what they've asked, what they've said they wanted to do. Women SV, I think the issue there is it's not Cupertino focused, And it's a lot of money. Both of those were a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
The speech boosters.
Actually, forgive me.
Okay.
With Women SV, I think we need to make a note that we have previously given the money and we have not received information from them how they use that money.
Okay, well, that's true. They are not required to provide that until there's a deadline for them to do that.
Okay.
Okay, so they could have done that. We're very well into the year,
Yeah.
but I don't think that is a disqualifying
Okay.
reason. Okay, and then there's speech boosters. And I think what I heard from my fellow commissioners is that it was too focused at one area school and not broad enough for the community.
Okay.
Since I'm going to have to be saying the words.
Yes.
Most likely.
I wanted to just cut off the last two just because,
Microphone.
Oh, yeah.
I keep forgetting to put on my microphone, so I said I just wanted to cut off the last two, but I'll defer to the rest of the commissioners on this one.
Okay. So then we need a motion. We're ready for a motion. Anyone?
So I make the motion to recommend the list of applicants starting ranked as above all the way up to the Asian American Parent Association in the order they have been recommended. And I also add to that we do not support the other three.
Do I have a second?
Can you
that clear
please
enough?
add to the motion the cumulative total that you are recommending?
Okay.
Well, that is, somebody add that up for me.
No, it's there on the right, it's the last column.
The last one, okay, that's
There it is.
51, 32, okay. So I'll add to the motion that would be 32,500 as the total that we will be recommending.
Would you mind reading out the motion in its entirety?
I can try and say it again.
So just to clarify, Commissioner Begor's motion on the table is to recommend line items from the Excel spreadsheet, starting at Cupertino Symphonic Band line 2 through number 8, Asian American Parents Association, in the amount totaling to $32,500, and that the commission does not support lines starting at number 9, Monte Vista High School Speech Boosters, all the way through number 11, God's Promise.
I'd like to make a friendly amendment. And I don't know how to exactly say this, but I'd like to make sure that we tell the council that we are not supporting all of these as equivalent, but in the order, the rank order in which they are listed is very important.
Yes, and I will clarify, Commissioner Begor did actually say that.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so she doesn't have to accept the friendly amendment, but you can.
Okay,
if you
good.
want.
If you could just put it.
Yes.
Okay.
I will include that. Sorry, I was typing very fast.
I know you were. Okay, can you read it out? Forgive me. Can you read it out again? I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page.
Okay. So Commissioner Begor's motion is to recommend, starting at line item number 2, Cupertino Symphonic Band, through number 8, Asian American Parents Association, in the order that it is currently ranked, for a total of $32,500, and that the commission does not recommend, starting at line item number 9, Monte Vista High School Speech Boosters, through number 11, God's Promise.
I'll second.
Is there any more discussion? No. We can take it to a vote.
All right. Motion carries with 4 yes and 1 absent.
Thank you very much. This is a very difficult task for the commission to do, and I'd like to thank all the commissioners for all the work. This is 2 meetings worth, and I know that the council will be looking at the budget. We don't know what the budget situation is going to be, and I think hopefully they will know better by the time they come to this item, probably in June, before the next fiscal year budget is approved. And so I did note that the amount that we are requesting is a lot less than has been requested in previous years. And we had fewer applicants, so I think this reflects that. So thank you very much. Okay, we can move on to the next item of business. Okay. Commissioner Revore.
Yes, before we move on to the next item of business, can we add one question into this? It would be nice that uniqueness was part of the application because sometimes I'm like, has anybody ever done this before? Like, you know.
It is.
It is. No. It's in this criteria, but
Right.
in the application.
Oh, I was thinking as Jennifer was asking about, do the applicants know about the criteria? Maybe there's a way we can structure the application such that it points to some of these criteria and lets them address the originality or some of the other criteria.
Yes.
We do ask them about
we
ask them about alignment with the general plan.
Yes, but the only one that's kind of missing is the uniqueness. So if you can somehow word that one question, if possible.
Staff will be taking a look at the application based on the updated policy. However, the update to the policy was about 2.5 seconds before this went live this year. Okay. So we weren't able to do it for this year, but that is in the plans for next year.
Terrific.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay. Item 4 on the agenda, consider canceling the July 6th Park and Recreation Commission meeting. Director.
The only thing I'd like to state on this is that it definitely has to be council due to council has moved their meeting to July 6th. So we get bumped. But also that normally we would cancel our July meeting due to what the Parks and Rec department is usually going through at that time.
Yes. So were there any clarifying questions? No, it's pretty straightforward. Do we have any public comment on this?
There are no speaker cards, and if you would like to comment on this item, please raise your hand on Zoom. And no hands raised.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
I'll motion to cancel the July 6, 2023 Parks and Recreation Commission meeting.
Seconded.
Okay. Is there any discussion? The only comment that I would make is to the extent that something comes up that we really feel we need to have a commission meeting about, we can call a special meeting in July at a time convenient for staff and the commission. So with that, let's take a vote.
Oh, Vice Chair Sharon.
It didn't show.
Motion carries with 4 yes and 1 absent.
Oh. Excellent. Okay. Next, we'll be moving on to staff and commission reports. And
sorry, I'm requesting.
Yes, Commissioner Begor.
My name was spelled incorrectly.
Spelled incorrectly where?
It's SASHIKALA in the voting thing, and I just saw SHA. So.
Oh, instead of Sashi, it's Shasi.
That's okay.
Okay, that's just administrative. Let's get that correct. Oh, and it just.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome.
I will let video know.
Okay, Hamed? Okay, so I think he's just going to get a glass of water. We will do staff and commission reports, and these are being presented out. They, if there are minor clarification questions, it's fine, but generally we're not looking for long discussion on these items. So we'll go to commission reports first, because I know our director likes that. Does anyone have a commissioner report? Vice Chair Sharon.
Just a couple things that I did because I've been gone for a lot. I attended the Regnart Creek Trail opening. It was very well attended, and I could see where the trail is going to be a great connector between those 3 parks, the Library Field, Wilson Park, and Creekside Park. I also attended a meeting with Chair Stanek and Will Johnson from Backyard Golf. He had a proposal for Blackberry Farm, which he was planning to discuss with staff in the following weeks. So that's pretty much all I had on my calendar for the last month.
Commissioner Pecor?
Yeah. I attended the intergenerational mix, and that was actually a fabulous program. Shout out to the Parks and Rec Commission as well as to Alex for setting that up. It was very well received by the seniors that attended. It was well received by the teens that attended. That was very interesting to me. They really enjoyed, they were really participating. They actually have worked with they've got some relationships with their grandparents, you could tell. So they were very comfortable sitting at the table alone with a bunch of seniors, which is very interesting for teenagers to do, which is sort of rare. The hula was fun. And bingo was fun too. I got a prize even, but I gave it away to one of the kids who I thought would use the diary much more than I would. But overall, I think it's something that we should do more of. And, whenever you guys can come up with the next one. It was great. That was the feedback we got from everybody. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Commissioner Bush, anything to report?
Well, I supported the Holi festival. I mean, supported by buying a space and attending for a short time. But yeah, it was really well attended, and I could see very positive, vibrant, colorful environment there.
Great.
Thank you.
I attended the Mayor's Crest Award meeting where the Crest Awards were determined, and those are not announced yet. So if I tell you, I'd have to kill you. So those will be coming out shortly. I attended the Senior Center Volunteer Lunch, which was delightful. Amanda Huey did a wonderful job with the theme of intergalactic space. I don't know what I don't remember the right words, but it was very fun. They had 3D vision goggles and games with, arcade kind of games, and the food was wonderful. The entertainment, they had a magician come in, and he was really very good, and he had that crowd going. So it was a very nice way to thank our volunteers at the Senior Center, and I was glad I was able to be there to thank them as well. As Vice Chair Sharon mentioned, I was at the meeting with Will Johnson from Backyard Golf. I was not able to go to the Regnight Trail opening, but I did go down there a couple days ago to walk it and to see how it looks. And it looks beautiful. I did notice I was surprised, it's dry now because the rains have gone, but I did notice there was one rut where a bicycle had been, and so I was concerned that if we have more rains, that's got to be tough. We got to make sure we don't get ruts in it. And I was surprised to see that, being that it was so soon. And there is this smell that has been reported between Blaney and Wilson Park. And yeah, we need to figure out what that is and hopefully do something to get rid of that. I attended and watched, I didn't attend in person, but I participated in the council meeting this week on the work program. And I attended and I spoke for myself, but there are a number of items on the work program that are very high interest to the commission. One is the DOLAs, that they have proposed staff time as well as amenity dollars out of our park amenities budget. So I think they heard that here in our commission meeting. So I have to thank staff for hearing that. They also proposed a feasibility study for recycled water that would affect Blackberry Farm Golf Course. And so, that's a high dollar ticket item, and council's going to have to decide. It seems to me that we need to know if we can do recycled water before we decide what we're doing with the golf course. They also have an item that's the commission governance update to align with the new council handbook. And so I think it's really important that the commissioners all understand the handbook, and it will be updated so that we're in alignment with council on that. So I was very happy to see that. And I also got an invite from the Monte Vista Speech Boosters to attend their spring banquet, which I declined, especially given that they had an application before our commission right now for the community grants. And so I thought, out of an abundance of caution, to not have a conflict of interest, I declined that invitation. Commissioner Begor, would you like to comment on that?
Yes, I had the same invitation. I told them I can't talk to them till Friday. I didn't think they would well, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I thought it was a teachable moment to explain to them why I would decline that. And that's all I have, and we'll turn it over to the director.
All right. Well, for those of you who missed the mandatory commissioner handbook training last Thursday, which was all of you, you will still be required to watch the recorded training and complete an affidavit that you have watched it. So those will be sent out soon, probably either later this week or early next week. So please watch your email for that. The city is also currently conducting a community assessment survey for older adults, which you heard about in our last meeting. That survey is online currently and is open through April 25th. It is a survey that is being conducted through Polko, who you heard from last meeting. So the online platform is through them. So even though the city is sending out the email, the link that you click on takes you to a non-city website. So if you do get questions about that, it is a legit survey that the city is running. However, obviously, with everyone looking at our IT presentation today, it does look a little bit like it's sending you somewhere outside the city, because it is, but legitimately sending you somewhere. And for the fun stuff, this Saturday, April 8th, right outside, we have the Big Bunny 5K. Registration and packet pickup opens at 7 a.m. The 5K race begins at 8:30, and the Kids Fun Run begins at 9:30 on Library Field. We also have Hack Cupertino, Saturday, April 15th at 6 p.m. to Sunday, April 16th at 10:30 a.m. They work through the evening at the Quinlan Community Center. The Earth and Arbor Day Festival, Saturday, April 22nd from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Library Field, right outside. And the Blackberry Farm Spring Swing Scramble, which is at the golf course, it's Sunday, April 23rd. That is sold out with a wait list. So we're very excited about that. It's the first year we've done something like that at the golf course. And then the Cherry Blossom Festival is Saturday, April 29th and Sunday, April 30th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Memorial Park.
Thank you very much. Vice Chair Sharon, we're not looking for a lot of discussion or questions here, but
not a lot of discussion or questions. I received in the mail my survey, and first the card, then the survey. So good job.
Okay, if that's all there is. Oh, next thing we have future agenda setting and upcoming meetings. Commissioner Begor, I have to look at the light.
No worries. So a couple things that I thought we need to sort of maybe look at. One is just our whole festival policy. If we can just look at what do we participate? I mean, we get revenue from everybody renting our parks. So what is the policy? Can we look at it and just, so that everybody knows what it is? That's one. Secondly, this DOLA is getting a lot of attention. I am I've had 5 dogs in my life, and now I have a new puppy as well. So I'm a dog lover myself, but I think we've got a situation where we have the fox guarding the hen house. They self-report. But there seems to be people that are complaining that they can't use the parks, and this is not just one person. I've heard it from multiple people. So should we do a review of what's going on with the trial? Do we have staff following up? Just general just to be fair to everybody. So we don't have, one person feeling like, people feeling like just because we don't like dogs, we're not allowed to use the park. We don't want that situation to happen. So we should review it, see it good and clear from all sides. My ideas.
So those are your ideas. Any other comments from commissioners?
We would need seconds on both those items in order to put them on the list.
Right. So what I think we will get a DOLA report at some point. I'm confident that we will, and it's part of the work program right now. And so I second that we should have a presentation on the progress of the DOLAs and the results that are coming out of that, the criteria, and whatever we need to know about that, the data that we've collected. Not sure when that will be, but we'll do that at an appropriate time. And the other one?
It's just about the festival policies
and
how much money we earn out of that.
Yeah.
So sort of a review, like a director report kind of.
Can you turn on your...
We have a field policy, right? So it's written and it's been distributed. So if there is a policy for field, like what you like to see, if it's already there, maybe you can distribute on email and we can read, and then if we have a question, we can come back to you instead of having someone make a presentation. So I think just distribute it out. It's study material for us, and that's all.
I think
and then we come up.
For sure, it is useful for us to get that, but I think it would be useful for the public also to understand what's involved. So that's why a presentation would make more sense. Definitely, we would like to see the policy.
The only comment I'll make about that is it probably would not be soon, because that is another thing that would end up probably being talked about with the budget items that are happening. And so things may change a lot with that policy.
Yeah, so I think what I'm hearing is if you could send out the policy, and at some point we'll hear about the budget and bring it back if it's appropriate. Okay. So that's future agenda setting. Oh, we didn't do, I'm sorry, I skipped commissioner meeting, attendance at upcoming meetings at events. Commissioner Swamy was supposed to attend the last mayor's meeting. Do we know if she attended?
I do not know. I'd have to check with Deborah. But yes, she was assigned to that meeting.
Okay. And the upcoming meetings, just so we can confirm.
Yes, so upcoming April 12th, we have Commissioner Butch, and the time actually did change as of this morning, so it will be at 5 p.m. next Wednesday, and they did send out an updated Zoom link, or an updated time on the Zoom calendar invite, so if you need me to resend anything, just let me know. And May 10th, we have Vice Chair Sheeran, and June 14th, we have Commissioner Begor.
And if we want to add one more month, a rolling month, I'd be happy to do July.
All right, I'll put you down for July.
Okay. Sorry, I went out of order on that. And so I think we're ready for adjournment at 9:07 p.m. Thank you very much.
Thank you.